Well, people are talking about this today. Hunter Biden was found guilty on all 3 felony charges in his federal firearm trial. Trump heard and was like, I've always said our legal system is fair and just, and this is just another example of justice finally being served.
Isn't it great to be a Democrat? Hunter Biden is convicted on 3 felony counts, and the joke is at the expense of Donald Trump. That's what the propaganda network is all about. That's what information dominance is for. Come on. Hey, wait a minute, Hunter Biden. It's the beginning of the unraveling of the Biden crime family. Maybe, maybe not. Because, the Attorney General and the Justice Department and the FBI, well, these are problems, aren't they? However, the FBI did grab 8 ISIS members here in the United States, New York City, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. They sauntered in across our border, thanks to Joe Biden, and they were vetted. Did you see it? They were vetted. They got cleared to come in. We checked them out. Just 8 members of ISIS, and then they went to New York and Philadelphia and Los Angeles. They should really stay in Los Angeles, I think. That's me. I'm biased in that regard. But the FBI apparently cracked the case. I don't know how that happened. And they had audio recordings, too. They had audio recordings, just like this Democrat troll woman that sneaked in, skulked in, misrepresented herself, going to a Supreme Court gala. It's a gala. And the woman recorded surreptitiously, secretly recorded Justice Samuel Alito, who said some things out loud that any normal person might say out loud. And Democrats they're upset by this because normal is not really their thing, And then the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, he was caught saying something like, America is good, and the Democrats are going crazy. They're soiling their undergarments again, which they do so frequently. Isn't that remarkable? We've got all kinds of wackadoodle-doo for you because, we did yesterday while we were on there, we had the Hunter Biden conviction. Convicted thrice, 3 times, 3 charges, 3 convictions. The Democrats, very upset, and yet they're using it to their political advantage because, you know how they are. Remarkable stuff, these people. I am fascinated, though, that the FBI got these 8 ISIS people that came in across our border. And it's a good thing, I guess, we got these guys before they murdered 500 people or, burned down everything. That's the job of the Democrats, as we know. They don't want ISIS cutting in on their action, anything like that. But they're from Tajikistan, the 8 ISIS terror suspects captured inside the United States in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. The same gang, ISIS-K, out of Tajikistan, that attacked the Moscow Theater, the Moscow Theater massacre. I guess that was last year, and remarkable stuff. So we've got that. I'll update you on that. Remarkable things going on in the world and in the country, the United States of America. And headlines everywhere. Biden appears to slur his words during Juneteenth event from the New York Post. When you say appears to slur his words, that's because you watch the video or listen to the audio and you recognize and acknowledge that he slurred his words. And it appears that way to everyone. And that's why the headline can safely be Biden appears to slur his words, because that's what the videotape shows, no matter which angle you're watching from. Amazing stuff. Also, what was going on in the jury room with Hunter Biden? Well, juror number 10 came forward. I commented just the other day that none of the jurors from the Trump trial in New York have come forward, been interviewed by any of the network TV people or any of that. But it turns out one of the jurors came forward and told CNN, that tells you something about him. Hey, I think I'll talk to CNN. What, MSNBC wasn't available? So he talks to CNN, and he said that the night before the decision, that is to say night before last, the jury was split 6-6. 6 of them were yay, 6 of them were nay, and then overnight they got to unanimity on all 3 counts. And I will share some of the details with you on that. It's amazing. Congressman Matt Gaetz is being attacked and other Republicans for not responding warmly enough to the convictions of Hunter, the convicted felon Biden. Convicted felon Biden. Now, we can use that convicted felon Hunter, the convicted felon Biden. We can use it all we'd like, but it might become confusing later on when Joe Biden is convicted of felonies, and then you say, wait, which convicted felon Biden? We're going to have to become more specific. So we'll talk about that too, because this is just the beginning. What about the Foreign Agents Registration Act? What about the money laundering? What about all the irregular activities? We had more than 100 suspicious activity reports out of the Treasury Department having to do with the Biden family's business shenanigans. I heard somebody use the word shenanigans yesterday, so it's tucked away. Using the shenanigans of the Biden family business, which is selling influence, political influence. That's the industry that they're in, and it's a big industry worldwide. Remarkable things. Also, Rachel Maddow. Remember, I don't know what her pronouns. What are Rachel's pronouns? Anchor person Rachel Maddow now says that she, I'm not sure, worried that Trump is going to send her to camps. They've always got these things. They're projecting again. The left is always projecting. And that means the Democrat Party today is always projecting. And Rachel Maddow has fantasies about going to a sleepover camp. I think an all-girls camp is the big idea. And who doesn't? So the Rachel Maddow worried Trump will send her, there's a pronoun, to, quote, camps, end quote, to camp, because they're going to be the camps. He was already president for 4 years, you know. I can't compete with the Biden people, though. They had that transgender bearded man at the White House night before last for Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth. It's a melding of two different words. Juneteenth. And it was a tranny, a transgender man, a bearded man, a grown man with a gray beard dressed in a full-length sequin gown. Well, what color we use? Kind of rainbow colors, mostly red, I think, but sparkly, spangly, I'm not sure if I'm using that word correctly, gown with boots, but they had their high-heeled boots. And the bearded man was there, and he kissed Joe Biden. He kissed Joe Biden on the hand, just on the hand, very gentlemanly, the kiss on the hand. But the Democrats are very, very unwell. Speaking of which, there is an organization of doctors, of pediatricians, demanding that we as a culture, as a civilization, stop transgenderizing children, because after all, it's a mental issue that should be treated as a mental issue, and not just say, oh, you're 8 and you want to have a vagina now? That sounds like a good idea, little Timmy. That's what the Democrat Party's doing, but there are a lot of doctors now who are standing up at long last, pediatricians, and saying those are doctors of children, and saying this is wrong and we must stop this. This must stop immediately. And that's a fascinating story. So there we have it. Also, because the Democrats and all their rioting and sacking and burning and looting and plundering and then repeat because they're so violent, and the crimes and the craziness and the open border, there is a Canadian government organization that is throwing out to the Canadian government, hey, what do we do when the United States collapses into civil war? In Canada, the government is looking at this now. Plunging into civil war, Canadian government think tank mulls bloody future for America. And this is because the left is here, and there's a war on normal. The war on normal is ongoing. It's crazy. And why Canada is worried about a U.S. civil war. The radical left-wing extremists at Politico, who pose as journalists but really aren't. They're just a front group for the Democrat Party. Amazing stuff. And, of course, Israel versus the world. And when we say versus the world, we also mean versus the Democrat Party and Joe Biden and all the mobs in the street. There's another gang of Jew-hating, genocidal Democrats outside of a conference in New York night before last, where one of the guys was screaming at Jews, I wish Hitler were here. I wish Hitler were here. And it's the Democrats aren't quite Hitler, but they have been invited to lunch on his front porch. They're going to be having a nice lunch, a nice spread on Hitler's front porch, because they're not on our side, that's for sure. But amazing stuff. And rescue, this is not so amazing, but the Times of Israel, not surprising at least, rescued hostages were beaten almost every day, says doctor who treated them. And this is a remarkable one. There's this, speaking of transgender, there is a psycho at Columbia University that attacked and assaulted an Israeli using a wooden dowel, a wooden stick for whacking. Here's a nice stick to beat the girl with. And the quiet man, flashing back to the quiet man. But this lunatic who is transgender, who's a man who, in theory, who goes by she and her, violently attacked an Israeli, an identifiably Jewish person, and assaulted the person and was charged with hate crimes. But the prosecutors moved to dismiss hate crimes charges against woman, who's actually a man, who hit Israeli Columbia student with stick. The New York Jewish Week has the story, and the prosecutors are saying, well, just because he's yelling death to Jews and beating the Israeli with a stick, the transgender person, more and more of whom appear to be criminally insane. Interesting. How many mass shootings do there have to be? How many nightclubs and how many schools? But never mind that. And then attacking the Israeli at Columbia University, beating the guy with a stick. And the dude says, no, I'm a woman. So the news media just says, oh, a woman who hit Israeli student. And then they refer to him as she and her because he says that his pronouns are she and her. And the news media just snaps too, like the brain damage. It might be a lot of brain worms. Could be a lot of brain worms out there, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Brain worms. We should write a song called Brain Worms about the Democrats, I think. Amazing stuff. Yeah, and they had this Nova Music Festival exhibition. That's where the savages attacked and murdered all those people, kidnapped, raped, tortured, mutilated, all that stuff. Nova Music Festival was being held in New York, and gangs of Jew haters showed up outside, including the guy who was yelling, I wish Hitler were here, because I'm going to take him at his word. I think he said that because he wishes that Hitler were here, just like that. And Alito, Justice Samuel Alito, a great American, a great legal scholar, in secret recordings, apparently agrees nation needs to return to, quote, godliness, end quote. That's the ABC News headline. They're outraged that a justice of the Supreme Court thinks that godliness in a nation or a culture is a good thing, because at ABC News, they worship Satan. They have a giant Satan sculpture in their lobby at their headquarters in New York. And whenever they come in the morning, they have to stop and praise him. Hail Satan! They say it's like a scene from Rosemary's Baby in the newsroom at ABC New York. And they're outraged that Samuel Alito, when this woman who's a radical left-wing extremist and a fascist and I think a Satan worshiper, and I'm just guessing now, but that's possible. And she sneaked into this gala and recorded Samuel Alito and John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the United States. And they think that the news media and the left and the Democrats and the after-school Satan Club crowd, they think that they caught Alito and Roberts saying really outrageous things. I caught on tape, Alito's wife made jaw-dropping threats. That's not true, but the left-wing mediaite, they're going to go with the headline anyway, went on anti-pride rant. When you say pride, do you mean pride in nation, pride in our flag, pride in our accomplishments, pride in our culture? I see. No, that's not what you mean. To undercover activists. It's an undercover activist. And this woman sneaked in, and the news media loves it. ABC loves it. CNN loves it. If you're a conservative and you go in and have surreptitious recordings of Planned Parenthood or something, then the media is angry with you and they'll hit you with dowels and say they wish Hitler were here. But if you're a radical left-winger and you think you caught somebody for saying that godliness is good in a culture, boy, you guys need a brain scan. You need serious help. Yeah, John Berman at CNN, very excited. He's stunned by the bombshell secret, the secret Alito tapes. It's all completely fake. It's a filthy, corrupt industry. They call themselves journalists. Also, Joey Chestnut, the big hot dog eater in New York, I got an update on him. Crazy man hijacked a bus in Atlanta, Georgia, 1 dead. Never mind that he's got 19 arrests in his past. Why would that be a problem? That's amazing stuff. And what did they vote to do in North Dakota yesterday? It's got something to do with Joe Biden. All of that and a whole bunch more coming up. We are at 888-630-9625. Let's take a phone call, and then we'll dive into all of the madness that the Democrats have provided once again today. Let's go to Isa, calling from Tampa, Florida. Isa, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. I'm listening to you every day. I like your show.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about the incident or the accident on Israel, where they reported that the hostage was enslaved.
Yes.
By the hostage taker. I want to point out that this is not a single act by extremism. This is the original dogma that enabled the Arabs to invade the whole area, including the Arab Peninsula, the north of Africa. This is originally directly from the dogma, from the ideology itself, from the book, not extremism.
From the Quran and the Hadith.
Yes, and the practice of the first generation of the people who established that religion. So there's nobody can say that they understand that the religion better than those first generation people.
So when you heard that the young woman that was kidnapped October 7th was being used as a slave in the house, you said, well, that's perfectly normal. That's right there. And this is not some extreme faction. This is the mainstream.
Yes, and all the people that Joe Biden letting in from the border, waving in, if they have this dogma, even if they're not showing it, the first chance that they will take over, that's what they will do. They will take over. They will take all these white, nice women to enslave them. And those progressive who are leading us into this, they're just naive, dumb, they don't know what they're doing, or they're evil and they know what they're doing to us. And this is what they did in Europe. Europe now is taken over by the same culture. German women, Polish, Dutch.
It is a worldwide conflict, Isa. I thank you very much. We're having some technical challenges here in the control room. My apologies, Isa. I'm happy that you called in to share. What a world it is. What a world it is these people make. Here is a wild story. You know, we built a port facility for a terrorist group. Joe Biden, using the power and the might and the economy of the United States and the military might of the United States to help a terrorist army, a genocidal terrorist army called Hamas. And Steve, my apologies to Isa, because we had a technical hiccup there, and I had many more questions for Isa, but maybe we'll talk another time. Talking about using the young woman as a slave and how this is just what you're going to find in the dogma of the Islamists, and you shouldn't be surprised that they're kidnapping, raping, and enslaving young women, and Isa said white women, and you should expect to see a lot more of that, because that's what you've seen throughout history, and Isa knows whereof he speaks. He speaks the truth, and perhaps we will talk another day. Remarkable stuff. But now back to Joe Biden and the pier facility, because the sources are telling journalists that Joe Biden's Gaza pier is endangering the lives of American troops in exchange for a photo op. And it turns out that it's, surprise, surprise, absolute anarchy there, because it's Hamas land. And Hamas was given an area of land, the Gaza, which is more than twice the size of Washington, D.C. in terms of square miles. It was a two-state solution, and they took their state and turned it into a blood-drenched death cult filled with brigands and criminals who will kidnap and rape and murder you because, that's in the dogma, as Issa was saying. Now, the Biden administration has publicly praised American troops who are part of this risky mission in the Gaza to deliver aid to Hamas by way of a pier facility that we built for them, but then you may recall it fell apart and kind of drifted away, and pieces of it went up into Israel out of Gaza and came up on the beach there, and it just fell apart because it turns out that there are some waves in the eastern Mediterranean, and when you go all the way to the east in the Med and you come up on the beaches of Israel and the Gaza, there's some tumultuous seas from time to time. And gosh, they didn't plan for that when they were building a pier in a sea. Who could have thought of that, Oh, yeah, any 5-year-old could have thought of that, but never mind that. So behind the scenes, sources are telling Breitbart News that the safety of the U.S. troops being endangered for a photo op, they say. Now, approximately 1,000 U.S. troops, they're part of this novel operation to attach a floating pier to the coast of Gaza. And they had it up and running on May 17th, and 8 days later on May 25th, it fell apart because there were some rough seas because it's a big sea, it's the Mediterranean Sea. And it was dismantled from the coast and thrown into pieces and scattered all over the place because, nice job, we can't do anything right anymore, can we? But never mind that. The Biden administration tells us that the operation is ongoing and it's going successfully. It's wonderful. Sabrina Singh, the Deputy Defense Secretary at the Pentagon, told us that it's just going splendidly. It couldn't be going better. Just wonderful. But never mind that, because the thing is a mess. The risk of sniper fire, they're being ordered to wear tactical vests and helmets and so on, as far as 5 nautical miles out off of the coast, because they'll just sit there and take pot shots at you, and amazing stuff. So because there are bad guys there, and they're the ones that we're building a pier for, so we can get supplies to the people that are shooting at our guys. These are the people that are holding hostages that attacked on October 7th, and the Biden Democrats can't wait to help the terrorists, just as they're fond of doing with Iran, because Iran also the king of all the bad guys over there, but never mind that. So amazing stuff, and it turns out that troops are being injured, and they just don't talk about it. We don't have a news media because why would they talk about what's going on there? Why would they report the news? Why would they report what's going on in Ukraine, for that matter, just because we've sent how many tens of billions of dollars to fund the war there and then killed our own oil industry to help the economy of Vladimir Putin so he can fund the war in Ukraine. We're a very helpful country. But in any case, Breitbart reports that sources tell them that troops are being overworked with little sleep, resulting in accidents and injuries, including one service member being crushed by a forklift during nighttime operations. The pier is also allegedly being targeted all day and night by the troglodytes there, hurling bombs and mortars and gunfire. There's gunfire incoming. And, what could go wrong? Why would that be a problem? Your Democrat Party. They are not on our side. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned today is Mailbag Day, too. Today is also Mailbag Day. So we've got that going for us as well. Isn't it amazing? I am telling you. Man. Now, Hunter Biden, again, we had the Hunter Biden story yesterday. I wanted to get that story in while it was in front of me. The news media, you may recall, let's go back in time to 2020, the year 2020. That's 4 years ago now. Almost 4 years ago, because of December 1st of 2020. And Joe Biden, President of the United States, amazingly, shockingly, appallingly. And Peter Doocy asked him a question about Hunter Biden, because all these questions were coming up about Hunter Biden not registering as a foreign agent when he's acting as a foreign agent for foreign governments, mostly governments that are hostile to the United States, but that's okay because they're a Democrat family. and he's a Democrat president, and he's the senator's son and the vice president's son, and the prince. You hear that he's always been known in Delaware as the Prince of Delaware, like from a Shakespeare nightmare. But never mind that. Peter Doocy, December 1st, 2020, about the young criminal Hunter Biden.
Did Hunter Biden commit a crime? Have you spoken to your son, Mr. President-elect? Proud of my son.
I'm proud of my son. Did Hunter Biden commit a crime? Well, he answered, he said, I'm proud of my son. He didn't answer the question, yes or no. But did Hunter Biden commit a crime? December 1st of 2020, Peter Doocy of the Fox News Channel. And he didn't answer yes or no, you may have noticed, because he knows the answer is yes, and he doesn't want to get caught on that one. So he said, I'm proud of my son, because he's, they're crackheads, and then they're good crackheads and great crackheads. And my son is a great crackhead. He knocks up strippers. He's got Russian hookers. He makes videos and posts them online and then lies. And, oh, yeah, by the way, that whole laptop thing that they all lied to us about again and again. The laptop is obviously really Hunter Biden's laptop, in case there was really any doubt about that. And there never has been in my mind. And the solid reporting from Miranda Devine and others at the New York Post way back when, they had it nailed, they had it cold, and our corrupt news media is so filthy corrupt. Honestly, it's just an amazing thing. But never mind that. So Joe Biden and once again, Peter Doocy, because he's the only one asking questions, December 16th, the same month of 2020, about Hunter Biden, because now it's becoming clear that Hunter Biden committed crimes all over the place with these foreign business deals and the shell companies, and Tony Bobulinski's points out that Joe Biden is the big guy who gets 10% cut of these phony deals for which they provide no services and no material. But never mind that. This is December 16th of 2020.
Are you confident your son did nothing wrong?
I'm confident.
Are you confident that Hunter Biden did nothing wrong? Your son did nothing wrong. I'm confident. He's confident, but he can't walk up a staircase. And then later in the same month, shortly before Christmas, December 22nd of 2020.
Still thinks it's a story from the fall about your son Hunter. We're rushing disinformation at a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. I promise you, my Justice Department will be totally on its own, making its judgments about how they should proceed.
You may remember that you're a one-horse pony. You're one which is a saying that no one's ever heard anywhere in the world in the history of humankind. God love you, man. Yes. They say, you still think the story about Hunter Biden and the laptop is a Russian smear campaign, which is one of the biggest lies ever told, certainly in American political life, in the American political universe. Yeah, it's Russian. That's not Hunter's laptop, just because all the videos and the emails and the still photos and the text messages and Tony Bobulinski and God love you, you're a one-horse pony and you're a lion, dog-faced pony soldier. What's with him and ponies? I think maybe Joe Biden was deprived of a pony as a child, and he's still suffering from that. That's why he was stuttering as a child, as he needed a pony. He's got some about ponies, just amazing. And the news media, so Joe Biden was lying to us. Oh, yeah, it's Russian disinformation. No, it's not. It's Hunter Biden's, and it was always Hunter Biden's laptop, and only a moron. And that includes the moron George Stephanopoulos and the moron Chunk Todd and the morons at all the networks, all the executives and all the anchors. Yeah, this isn't Hunter's laptop. I mean, do you have two brain cells to rub together, or are they stored in your dark and remote location? Just amazing stuff. Now, Chunk Todd yesterday, instead of saying, gosh, we've got to eat some crow here, because turns out that the prosecution, Joe Biden's Justice Department, used the Hunter Biden laptop to prove the case against him. And we've got 3 felony convictions for the first member of the Biden family, and more to come, because James Biden and Joe Biden, just by the way. And let's get all the kids in there, because everybody's got to be under oath. And don't commit perjury, like Hunter Biden did to Congress, where Again, he is in violation of the congressional subpoena for which a Republican might go to prison, but Democrats go to lunch at Cafe Milano, where you pay $400 for lunch. But never mind that. Chunk Todd, a former Democrat campaign staffer whose wife is a Democrat Party apparatchik, who has brought in millions from the Bernie Sanders campaigns, and that's all fine. And then Chunk interviews Bernie Sanders without ever mentioning that his campaign has made his household rich, feathered their nests. And NBC's fine with that because they're not a news organization. They're a gang of Southern California fluffers. Chunk Todd yesterday, the Hunter Biden verdict. What's his take on it?
Politically, this is a big blow to Trump. And that's, I think, if you're looking for just political
not to Biden.
fallout. He's trying so hard to create this weaponization, and this has been a Republican talking point for so long, and there's never been any evidence to support what they've said. And now this is, not just no evidence to support, this is evidence to refute all of these claims.
What claims? That the laptop is Hunter Biden's laptop? That Hunter Biden has committed a whole series of crimes, including money laundering and violations of the Foreign Agents Registry Act, and has these business deals with countries hostile to the United States like China and Russia and Ukraine and on and on. Which part is false? I guess what Chunk is trying to say, weaponization, we should do a montage of the word weaponization in the media. It's a very popular word these days, kind of a big word for the likes of Chunk Todd, too. Remarkable stuff. Yeah, now, wait a minute. So the president of the United States, Joe Biden, has a son, Hunter Biden, who was convicted on 3 felony counts yesterday. And Chunk Todd's analysis of this is that it's really bad news for Trump, because Trump has been saying that there are 2 systems of justice in the United States. Now, was Hunter Biden convicted on 34 felony counts for a paperwork? And it's not even an issue. He paid his lawyer for performing legal work to secure a non-disclosure agreement. And I can assure you, NBC News has secured many non-disclosure agreements over the years because of a whole lot of, let's just start with, where in the world is Matt Lauer, who is like of the Marx Brothers combined, chasing women around his office with a secret buzzer under the door that locks women in and locks the door, and a closet full of sex toys and stuff. Chunk Todd, it's real bad news for Trump. What? That Hunter Biden was convicted on 3 felony counts when his father is running for president, and it's bad news for Trump because, and none of it is true. The weaponization, it's so true. It's who's sitting in jail, who's on his way to jail. Honestly, any Democrats? And Hunter Biden is in contempt of Congress. If you're a Republican, you'd be in prison already. Just ask Peter Navarro. Honestly, you people are insane. Chunk Todd yesterday.
If they're hoping this persuades people in the middle, I don't think Trump's argument about the justice system is very persuasive now in the wake of this. So in that sense, it really, I think, damages the Trump campaign's ability to just wave away their conviction.
Isn't that amazing? To just wave away their ability to wave away their conviction. Sure. And again, at least one of the jurors from the Hunter trial came forward, talked to CNN yesterday by phone, did an interview. None of the jurors from the Trump lynching have come forward. 34 felony counts, no deviation. They spent about 15 minutes per charge convicting Trump, the jury did. And they had lunch in there a couple of times, too. Steve Bannon is on his way to jail for doing what Hunter Biden allegedly did, but Steve Bannon claims executive privilege. Peter Navarro is sitting in prison right now for defying a congressional subpoena. But the Attorney General right now of the United States is in violation of a congressional subpoena. Hunter Biden violated a congressional subpoena, held a press conference in front of the Capitol, mocking them and scoffing. Standing next to Eric Swalwell, the Democrat congressman whose longtime sexual affair with a Chinese communist secret agent is no problem. because he's a Democrat. No, there are no problems, Chuck, with two systems of justice in America. None whatsoever. Okay. Let's grab a phone call. And still a great deal to get to, of course. Let's go now to Michael calling from Woodbridge, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, Chris, we were trying to get on this at the end of the show yesterday. I'm sorry, I understand your Republican, conservative, humanitarian inclination is to be sensitive about this and say, well, you know, it's not worth 25 years for Hunter. I'm sorry, I disagree. At this point, you have to play the name game. What was the media doing? Well, it's only because he's Joe Biden's son. No, the immunity plea was only because it was Joe Biden's son. Do the name game. I assure you, if Michael had shown up, now I'm originally from North Carolina in a very Appalachian and rural area. Had Michael shown up and dropped an AR-15 in a trash can across the street from a high school, or had my sister-in-law, who I was actually now having sex with, drop it off in a trash can across the street from high school, it would be national news, and I would be looking at 25 years because I remember Joe Biden doing an assault weapons ban because 40 years ago, I was the problem then. I'm still the problem, according to Joe Biden, and it's no big deal that his crackhead son had a gun. I will tell you right now, that kid in 11 days committed more felonies with that one firearm than I have with all of my firearms in my 40-plus years of ownership, and we haven't even addressed the black semi-automatic yet.
Yeah, that's right. That shows up in his pictures. Yeah.
He has to fry on this, Chris. I know we don't want to make examples and we don't want to weaponize the system. I'm sorry. When a person tells me that their only purpose in life is to destroy me, I have to play by their rules.
I don't. You've got a lot of support for that.